Okay, we are looking at FCSC. This is the big runner this morning. About, well over 14 million shares already traded this morning. This is actually up on some news that they've got sufficient funding for their operations for this year and next year. So obviously some nice positive news, great for farm. This is actually one that right now I'm just basically keeping an eye on and looking to trade here in the next little bit. This is a nice little biotech. They are a tough one to buy into, but I'm just waiting to see if this will actually bounce off this support. Looks like it's not really liking to do that right in this minute. All through the pre-market, it just kept bouncing, staying right above VWAP right here. Didn't even really sink much below it when it first opened, so it got a lot of buyers who were, more than happy to drive this thing up. The only trouble I'm having with this is it's not exactly really breaking out. It's not the most sexy stock breakout for a morning. In fact, if you look here, it does have a good likelihood of busting through the high it made back about a month ago in March. It's got a really good chance of that. And that would mean that like a next major resistance would be like 347. It's not a lot of room to run. So it's really kind of one I'm just keeping a close eye on. We'll see if I'll buy. So if I actually were to buy in, I'd probably hold until about right here in the 294. I'd probably wait just to see if it held VWAP. Wouldn't really want to see it making a lower low. That is where I'd probably feel like, okay, we're seeing some weakness. Other traders would probably be thinking the same thing, and really that's what makes a big difference, is what the mob thinks about the pattern. But yeah, you've just got this kind of like nice, this was a nice cup and handle right here. I mean, a little more choppy than you might see in some, but overall that cup and handle is right there. Had a nice little breakout. Been checking out a couple of different tickers this morning. We also checked out, for those of you who've been following more of these blue chip stocks, Disney, which just barely, not like the last Friday, talked about its new Disney Plus service. It's going to be big competition against Netflix, Amazon. It's the first time that Disney's actually really broken out. This was one of the tickers I made a lot of money on back in the day, and then just haven't ever come back to visit it because it's never really broken past that 120 zone. But on Friday, it really just broke out, went really strong. We'll see how the news holds for Disney Plus. Right now, it's dipping down, but it's still got a ways to go before I'm really concerned about it. I mean, it's a little too expensive for me to short at the moment, but because my shorting account is still one of my smaller accounts. But you know what? Maybe at some point. Okay, this is now looking to do something. It's actually broken through, or broken down from this little trend line. So this could very well keep going down and retest VWAP here in a sec. We'll just see what it does. Give it a moment to kind of play on that. Yeah, overall markets are a little bit red. No major breakouts except for their FCSC. Bitcoin is just kind of hanging right around the 5 mark now. Oil has had a nice rebound, just stayed steadily going up. Let's see, we'll check out another ticker, FLKS. It's actually looking like it might do something this morning. Up 34%. It's on break. It's just broke out from 69, so I could keep going. Actually, might be worth playing into. Okay. So what if let's see, might go nice little 1,000 position. Hold it until about 65. These ones are a lot harder to trade because on Thinkorswim they break out to 4 decimal places down. Okay, looking good. Actually, might be getting a little late if I get in right now. Almost need to wait for a pullback. Here, I'm just going to put an alert on that. Yep, testing VWAP on FCSC. I knew it. Knew it. Totally called that. FLKS. Yep, FLKS just barely went back too, I think. Looks like that pulled back. Yep, this is why I didn't buy in while it was going up. See if it actually tests all the way back down to 68. If it doesn't, honestly, I'm okay with not getting in if it's just not doing what I want it to do. We'll actually clear the drawing set because now the trend line is actually right about here. Question is it going to hold? Is it going to drop some more? We'll just see what it does with VWAP. VWAP is one indicator that I actually really started to trust in a lot more. Probably about a year ago is when I really got into that one. There was a trader who's named Roland Wolfe. He got himself up, with a small account all the way up to a couple million. He's a Tim Sykes student. Really, really cool guy. But he talked about VWAP and basically just being that price average. It says, if it's positive, like if it's on the upside of the VWAP, that means most traders are pretty much winning. If it goes below, that means the majority of traders are losing. So this is actually a good indicator of the strength of the stock. And the only reason why this indicator matters is because a lot of traders use this indicator. That means that if they see it go below VWAP, then that is where people go, okay, I don't have as much confidence in this stock right now. But if it sits there and just kind of hums along it, like you see on this, it's got a really good likelihood of spiking at open, which is exactly what it did. And then it still is kind of hanging right about there now. But if it goes down to 280, which it's looking like it very well could, then that's a sign that, okay, this thing might be done, at least for a while. So I'm going to move down this to about the $3 mark. But yeah, this could very well hit down below 280, just because right now, because it's not going back above VWAP, at least not at this point, a lot of traders are just looking at it and going, oh, shoot, this thing might be weak enough to where I don't think I want to stay in, so they're going to sell out of their position. Level 2s definitely show a lot more sellers right now. Like, look at all that. A lot more sellers popping up. A couple of buyers. Yep. So you're seeing them pop in and out, but the sellers definitely seem to be the ones who are taking control right now. Big bunch of red just got thrown up on the screen. Yeah, there's a battle. It's just a battle royale, which happens all the time around this level. So if you don't have this indicator on your, if you don't have it on your chart right now, I do recommend getting it. Look at that. They broke through the sellers. Well done. But this is, just for those who use Thinkorswim, it should be on studies. Actually, hold on a second. Yeah, studies, quick study. And you can go all studies. I'll just go VWAP right here. So right down to the V's to W's in VWAP. Perfect. FLKS. Take a look at that. Again, notice that bouncing off VWAP. Like, this is one of those indicators a lot of people use, and those are the ones that you want to keep on your radar. Let's see what it's doing. How much does it cost me? Oh yeah, it's not too big a position size if I do that. Might buy in at market just because it's right there, and then sell out if it goes below. Right there, we'll put an alert, see if it can break a new high. It's just slow going. Not as high a volatility as I'd like. It almost seems like some of the volume is kind of dying off a little bit, or at least the movement around this. Ooh, I like that. Curling back. Could very well move again. Might actually play this one instead and just make a position size of about 600 and hold for about that long. Wait for a good entry point. Yep, that's definitely not a good sign for me to enter in. Keeps trying to find a new low around here. Might not play this one at all because it's not giving me clear indicators that I like. What I wanted to do, because you usually see these curls that can curl back up and just, you know, buyers just come in like crazy and drive that price right up. Right now it's still, they're just duking it out. Just need some sexy movement, come on. FCSC, let's see something. What do you got for us? This is kind of one of those things that tells me, okay, there's buyers in here, but there's also rejection right at that level. And now the high of data beat is right up here. I do like that it's finding some higher lows. That's good. And each peak was higher than the one before it. So a sell-off, these happen, especially after you see a big run in the morning. The thing is it just can't drop down like 40% higher or 40% lower, like go all the way down to here, because that is the ugly sign that the stock is probably done for the day, or at least done until usually around like 11 a.m. Eastern time. Sometimes it starts perking back up around that time. At least that's been popular lately. Starting to get quiet. Look at this. Volume is dying off. You see that? That's a bad sign. I don't think I'm going to play this one. I'm waiting for that thing to just drop. Wouldn't be surprised at that. I mean, unless you see this like a finger of volume just start coming in and that goes up, this thing's at least done for the moment. Might not be done for the day, but yep, there it is. Starting to go red. If there were, this is HTB, so if you're on TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, this says hard to borrow. That just means, okay, if I wanted to short, so if I were on my shorting account and I were like, I want to short 700 shares, well, that'd be great, but the trouble is it would tell me it's hard to borrow. So I'll just give you an example. So if I were to come in and say I want to sell this many shares, then I says, yep, there are no shares to borrow on this one. Yep, falling back up. FCSC, called it. Totally start dropping back down. It might have a bounce here, but it could very well just keep sinking down. So for right now, I am no play on this. But yeah, that's one of these indicators. As soon as you see it start just going red right here, that is a sign you just need to steer clear. So for the moment, just keeping an eye on it, but might play later today. We'll just see what it does.